like want you to see my feathers. Hi, and welcome back to 100 Books in 100 Days. If you did not hear last week, if you weren't paying attention, and you were confused on why I have a feather on my forehead, it's because it's Life of a Showgirl week. Taylor Swift's new album, Life of a Showgirl, comes out. I'm a massive Swiftie. I'm very excited about it. Every time we have an album release, it is like a national holiday for me personally. So of course, I wanted to theme this week around the album release, which comes out on Friday. Obviously I haven't heard it at this point, so we are going to be making some bold guesses about what I think things are going to sound like, what the vibes are going to be. We are going to be picking 4 books based on 4 tracks off of Taylor Swift's new album, with a couple other little Swiftie surprises maybe tucked in there as Easter eggs. We have a couple books that I'm carrying over from last week. The first one being A Certain Hunger by Chelsea Summers, which was our book for like Spooky Girly from last week when I did my 5-star predictions based on my previous 5 stars. So I'm going to finish up that one, and I also have Matrix by Lauren Groff, which was the book that was randomly assigned to me because I got a punishment. I can't remember what I did. Oh, I think I didn't read before bed. So we have those 2 books that we're going to be carrying through. I'm not super far into either. I think I'm about 10% in both of them. Those will definitely be carrying into this week. And then I'm picking 4 new titles to go with 4 tracks off of Life of a Showgirl. And there might be some other Swiftie surprises sprinkled in, because one thing I like to do is overcommit to a TBR. I don't think we talked about it last week, but my TBR is over 700 books long. And these books, when I say TBR, I mean any book that is like on my radar that I've added to my Storygraph TBR, not books that I physically own. My physical TBR, I think, is probably under like 30 books. But my like emotional, my spiritual TBR is over 700. I like truly wish to read every book that has ever existed. Anyway, let's talk about what I have picked for this week's titles, as always, subject to change. The moment Taylor Swift announced her album and released that track list, I felt emotionally connected to this first song, because if you don't know, I'm an author. My second book, The Force of Missing Girls, is coming out in November, just a month from now, and the main character's name is Ophelia. I consider No Child of Mine like my Evermore book. I wrote it during the pandemic, listening to Evermore, and the song Ivy was like a massive inspiration. There's a very important character named Willow. Like, it has like a very deep connection to Taylor Swift. This one has less of a connection to Taylor Swift, except she made a connection to it. I mean, obviously she has never heard of my book, but I love that we have an Ophelia, and this book is around our main character, Ophelia. Like, that felt so special and magical. I love, like, it felt like a little universe moment. But for the fate of Ophelia, I shan't be reading my own book. I will be reading Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. This book has been on my TBR forever, and there is a movie coming out, so I want to make sure to read it before then. It is around Shakespeare's wife. It like centers around her and her story, and I think it actually revolves around the time he wrote Hamlet. I might also try to read Hamlet. I don't know. I like don't really want to, but also I've never read Hamlet. It's not one of the Shakespeare plays I read in high school, and to be honest, high school is the only time I've read Shakespeare, so I might attempt Hamlet as well, but I make no promises. But I'm definitely going to try to read Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell, and I do think I'm going to try to track that one down physically. The wait lists at my library are super long, and I looked at the Kindle copy and it's like $15, and I could get a paperback for like $16. So I might be headed to the store at some point this week to go track me down a copy of Hamnet. The next song that I am like so excited for, it's maybe the song I'm most excited for on the album, is Eldest Daughter. As an eldest daughter, and someone who loves reading about an eldest daughter, if you've been watching my ACOTAR recaps, you know that I have like such a sweet fondness for Nesta. Love an eldest daughter, am an eldest daughter. It's a track 5. I know it's gonna get me. We're gonna be reading Blue Sisters by Coco Mellers, which this is a book about 4 sisters. Obviously, there's gonna be an eldest daughter in there. I like feel pretty comfortable on that. And I also know it's sad, so I think the vibes might match. Next, for Actually Romantic, this, I just knew I wanted to read a romance. I love reading romances. I think romances are going to be a huge important part of this challenge, because it's also something I know that I can read like fairly quickly and enjoyably. Like, I'm gonna always be in the mood for a romance, you know, whereas some of these other books, less so. I love a romance. So Actually Romantic, I had like a lot of options. I was like, all these are probably like actually romantic. I went with one that had another special Taylor Swift connection. I am going to be reading You Belong With Me by, I didn't write down the author's name, and I know her name is
Vari McFarlane.
I'm gonna voice over me saying her name, because I don't have it in front of me, and also I don't know how to pronounce that. Obviously, I had to go with this because that is a Taylor Swift title as the it has a Taylor Swift song name as the title, so like double reason to read it. And also this is an author who has been on my TBR forever. I haven't read anything by her, and I know she's like an Emily Henry favorite. She's a lot of my favorite booktubers, one of their favorite authors, so I'm so excited to give her book a shot. I hear that they're like more like emotional, more women's fiction than pure romance, which actually is my personal preference. And then of course for Life of a Showgirl, I wanted to pick something that had like a pop star moment with a girl at the center. And so I'm going to be reading The Devil in the Deep Blue Sea by Elizabeth O'Rourke. I have read several of her other books, really enjoyed them. I think she's a fun, lighter read, and I think this is going to be so delightful. Yay! Okay, I'm so excited to jump into this week, to all of the moments leading up to Life of a Showgirl, and of course, the release itself. I won't be wearing orange all week because actually I own very little orange. Like, this is a sports bra. And it's not even that orange, it's kind of more of a coral. But we're going with it, okay? Alright, I will see you so soon. I wanted to come in and give like a little disclaimer for this video that you're about to watch. It is Tuesday. I'm like currently editing this video, and I wanted to kind of explain what you're about to see. This was supposed to be Life of a Showgirl reading week, and I was really excited about it. On Friday, my week got completely derailed. I got some personal news that was really upsetting and just kind of ruined my weekend, and I didn't finish any books. So the reading vlog you're about to watch includes no finished books. So do know that. Normally I just would like scrap this video, but like I'm really excited about the theme. I like want to share my like Life in a Showgirl first reactions. I will be continuing these books into this week. I will be finishing them and giving my thoughts on them. So the conclusion to these videos will be coming, and I just started these like weekly reading videos for the end of the year, and I like wasn't ready to give up on them, even though things kind of like fell apart at the end. That being said, I did give up on the rules for the week. Like, you will see that there's no, like, 3 rules. That's because over the weekend, I didn't follow any of the rules. I didn't finish a single book, so I missed the 4-book rule, and we're scrapping it. You know, sometimes you have to be gentle with yourself. Sometimes you have to say, oh, you know what? Life threw me a big curveball, and it hit me square in the eyeball. And we won't be holding ourselves to these made-up rules that I made up. We will be back at them this week because I do find if I'm going to hit my reading goal, I better get to it because now I'm 4 extra books behind. But I just wanted to give you a heads up that this does make a tonal shift suddenly on Friday. I will be finishing the books eventually, probably. I mean, who knows? It starts as Life as a Showgirl and then turns into like Tortured Poets. Like, you don't see me in hysterics, but like there is nothing from Friday or from Sunday, and I don't look great on Saturday. Like, I was rewatching that and I said, okay girl, brave of you to just come on camera looking like that and sounding like that. Just wanted to give you a heads up. Okay. I'm reading this. Should I be? No. Was it on the list that I told you this morning? No. But alas, we're reading it anyway. It's giving my reputation's never been worse. He must like me for me. Looking very shiny because I'm well moisturized. Tonight, I'm reading something that was not on the agenda. But like the library is gonna take it back from me. And it does have the same name as a Taylor Swift album. So I do feel like it's on theme. I'm reading Fearless, the last book in the... Sorry, my iPad light went out, which is what I'm using as a light. I'm reading Fearless, the last book in the Powerless saga. Again, not on the agenda. Do we have 6 books on the agenda for the week? Yeah. And I'm adding a 7th. Is it 500 pages long? Yeah. Let me live. Guys, I don't want to. I have not read really today. I read for like 15 minutes. And then I listened to my audiobook for like 10 minutes. And I was in the car for a lot longer. I really could have put a dent in things with the audiobook. But I didn't do it. I didn't want to listen to an audiobook. I wanted to listen to Taylor Swift. I'm being very excited about the album release. And like, that's what I wanted to do. But now, it's 10:45, and I've read 20 pages today, which means I need to read for at least another like half an hour or so, I think, to get to 30, and it'll be fine. But like, I don't want to. Like, I want to sit and play on my iPad. That's update, is I don't want to be here. Tuesdays are like my long day at work, and I don't get home until later, and I start early, and it's just like afterwards I'm like kind of pooped, and I have to read with my eyeballs. I'm not reading a hard book. Like Fearless by Lauren Roberts is going to be like pretty basic, pretty easy, pretty breezy once I get into it, but I just want to be a whiner. You can't see that. It's Fearless. You'll have to trust me. That's a dumb roll. Why not? Hi, and welcome to DNF Court, where I am the judge, jury, and executioner. Hence the black robe. Is it a sheer black robe? Yeah, but it's the only black robe I have. I did purchase it for a blank space costume. So, but it's what we'll wear to DNF Court. Today's DNF case is Matrix by Lauren Groff. The crime, you might ask? I'm finding this book intensely boring. And I need to decide whether to DNF it or not. DNF Court, in all seriousness, is actually my process I go through when I'm trying to decide if I'm going to like fully DNF something. My rule for myself is I need to get to the 20% mark. I've talked about the fact that I like really don't like starting new books. It's my least favorite part of reading anything is like starting a new piece of work. And so I make sure I'm reaching the 20% mark before I even begin these processes. 2, I have to be able to articulate why I don't want to read it. So this book I'm finding is kind of boring, which is like one of the biggest crimes, I think, personally. And I'm kind of just like, hey, girl, why are we here? What's the point of being here? Great. Next thing I do in DNF Court is I go to Goodreads for the people to supply their evidence. And I look at both 5-star reviews and 1-star reviews to see what the vibes are. The first review I saw on this book was by Roxanne Gay, and she said, 4 stars. This is pretty exceptional. This is gloriously written. The level of detail of 12th century life is remarkable. Marie, at the heart of this novel, is fierce and formidable. The research that made this novel possible is impressive. The ending falters as if it didn't quite know where to end. And I said, okay, let's think about this. The topic itself I'm not uninterested in. I actually am interested in the medieval period. This is firmly in the medieval period. It is the 12th century. I actually did my senior thesis on Catherine of Siena, who lived in the 14th century. A medieval nun. I talked about like medieval mysticism and nuns, and they were hecka weird. And so I was like, okay, excited. And then I learned through some more Goodreads reviews that this is like a real lady, a real live lady. And then I read Roman Claudia's review, and it is long, but she talks a lot about how this Marie character is actually like a real character who's like a famous French poet, but I've already gotten past the only chapter that has to do with their poetry. I also watched a YouTube video. We're hearing out the case. The case is that it is absolutely gloriously written, which I would agree with. It is very beautifully written, and perhaps audiobook is not the format to go with for this book, which is the format I have chosen to go with because it is what was available at my local library. But I am having a hard time really getting invested in this. So far we have Marie, this young woman who is the like illegitimate child of someone who's in nobility. She gets sent from the castle to this abbey to help the nuns there because the nuns there are starving. They're not doing so well. And so she's sent to be the prioress. So she's sent to like fix things for them, make things better. And from the reviews, I've gathered that she does indeed make things better, and it becomes like Girl Town USA, and it's all about the girlies and all about the girl power and that sort of thing. And I like love that. Thematically, I love that. But this is also not a theme that I think I need. So that's the third thing I look at is this addressing a topic that, despite its discomfort is something that I'm not familiar with and or want to learn more about. And this is not, to me, like girl power. I feel like I have a good handle on that. The medieval period and nuns in the medieval period, I also feel like I have a good handle on that. It's not something that I'm like, I want to learn more about. This last rule for DNFing for me is mostly about making sure that I don't DNF things just because they're unfamiliar. I think this is like not an evil quality in any capacity, this is just like something human, is that when we find things that are unfamiliar, we're all often like, and so I think sometimes we have a tendency to, and like I think studies have shown too, we have a tendency to not like stories as much if they're not familiar to us, like if the writer is writing from a background that is not our background. And so I want to make sure that particularly when I'm dealing with stories that are written by someone who is not from my cultural background or racial background, that I'm giving them some extra cushion in terms of DNFing. Not that I won't, okay? I will DNF anyone, but I do want to make sure that I'm not just DNFing because it is not written in a familiar way. Does that make sense? So anyway, that all being said, looking at the 1 stars, looking at the 2 stars, I feel like, one, this was like a lot of 4 stars, which is fine. It wasn't a ton of 5 stars. If I'm going to persist and there's in a book that I'm finding particularly boring and is being like praised for its beautiful writing, I want it to be 5 stars. I don't use Goodreads mostly for the rating. I find that to be like pretty unhelpful, but I do want to look at kind of the overall vibes in the comments. And the 5-star vibes will like wax poetic about how beautiful this book is, how this is just such a lush, vibrant novel about sisterhood, how it is like very accurate to the medieval period, but still shows this like type of feminism that is relevant today, and how it's, without being anachronistic, she still shows like female power. And the 1-star reviews are also like bored and bland. So unfortunately, I need a gavel. I'll put it in post. We'll use my fist. We are going to be DNFing Matrix by Lauren Groff. We gave it a good go, but it's getting the axe. I know it was like a punishment book, but in no world did I think those books were going to necessarily get read. That was not our purpose here. I have 15 minutes, but I'm right by the Barnes, and I really want to pick up a copy of Hamnet because the library's not going to have it forever. I tried the audiobook, and I just really think it's an eyeball book. So I have literally 15 minutes. Okay, perfect. I think you're probably really crooked, but that's okay. I just finished up at Barnes. I was only there for 10 minutes. 10 minutes, Barnes & Noble Hall. Hello, she's a queenie. They did not have Hello Beautiful by Ann Napolitano, which I have been searching for lately. The paperback came out fairly recently, and I read that book last year? Earlier this year? I think last year, and it was my favorite book of the year. Absolutely loved it. Want to have my own copy because I like really want to reread it and be able to like annotate it, and I just like haven't. I like will be able to order a copy online, of course, but every time I go into a bookstore I've been looking for it, and today I was like, okay, I'm gonna for sure get it. I'm at like a fairly big Barnes, so I was like, for sure they'll have it, and they didn't have any in stock, but I did get what I came for, which was Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. I feel like this is gonna be a 5-star favorite book. The person is pulling up right next to me. They're being really annoying. Okay, we're just going to be so brave. I think it's gonna be like a 5-star book. I believe in my heart it's gonna be 5 stars, so I bought a copy. Also, my hold from the library is not gonna be in this week, so we bought a copy. And then, like I told you, the main reason I came is to get Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. I've read Maggie O'Farrell's memoir, which is called I don't remember what it's called. Something repeated 3 times. I'll put it in. It was very good. I tried to listen to this on audiobook, and it was like good, and I could tell it was good, but I felt like I wasn't absorbing it. Like, it's a book I need to read with my eyeballs, so I grabbed it. Those are the 2 books I came for. Well, I came for 3, but they didn't have Hello Beautiful. But I saw this, and I had to get it. It's so heavy. So heavy. The papers are like thin pages because it's a huge book, and it doesn't look huge. It's over 1,000 pages long. So I don't know when the next time I'll read this is, but this is Alchemized by Sun Lin Yu. I'm like, yeah, wanted a copy. Yeah, I'm excited. Apparently I just saw something about how this has sold 145,000 copies in its first week, which that's pretty impressive. It has a movie deal coming out. I like hope it's good. I'm a little nervous after my Rose and Chains experience, which I didn't love that one, but I hadn't read the fan fiction of Rose and Chains, and I have read Manacled, which is what this is based on, and I thought it was brilliant. Then, and I think I have a good hopes for the adaptation. I know it's going to be heavy, not only in terms of the weight of it, but also the content. Like, it's very much about war and kind of the psychological effects of war. So I don't know when I'm actually going to be reading it, but I'm happy to possess it. It was a book that I was like, one, happy to support this author, and also like looking forward to reading at some point. Okay, Life of a Showgirl comes out in less than a minute. We're in the last minute without Showgirl. How are we feeling about it? I'm excited. It's 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock. All right, you ready? Okay. This is The Fate of Ophelia. Nope, that's bigger than the whole sky. This is The Fate of Ophelia. I think that's a Joe song. You know she loves to make fun of the fact that he is poor. Nesta Archeron would love the song. She would eat it up. No. Wait, that's so cute. I love the ending. That's so cute. My favorite on a first listen were probably The Fate of Ophelia, Father Figure, Cancelled. I think those are my three favorite. The lighting is truly abysmal, but that's okay. I don't want you to really look at me that closely. It's Saturday. I did not come to you at all yesterday. It was Life of a Showgirl day, and you know, we had more of a Tortured Poets day than Life of a Showgirl day, if you would. It was a rough day for me. I'm not gonna get into it, but we just scratched that day. Sometimes you just have to say, you know what? Cancel the plans for today. I did not do it with a broken heart. I actually did hit my page goals. I did hit 50 pages. Shockingly, it's because I did my book club reading first thing in the morning and did a little reading before bed. For my Patreon book club, we're reading Bury My Bones in the Midnight Soil, and we do like a chapter update every Friday. And so I did the first one for October. And I'm obsessed with that book, in case you're wondering. I am loving that book. If you want to hear my thoughts as I read it, you can head over to Patreon. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. Oh my gosh, why haven't I read more V. Schwab? And then I also did start, I guess I should just tell you, I did start Alchemized. I got this at the store and I said, oh, I'm not going to start this during the challenge because it is 1,000 pages. It weighs like literally, like you could kill someone with this book. You conk on the head. It like feels like a cast iron skillet. That's how heavy this is. I don't have the cover on it right now because I was reading it, but I got a little bit into Alchemized, not far. I'm on chapter 3, page 37, because last night I wanted something just kind of like familiar, and this is familiar enough because I have read Manacled, but it is like fairly different. Like I'm not feeling like I'm rereading Manacled. There, especially in the beginning here, because we are kind of getting the setup of the world, the magic system is kind of confusing. Like I said, I'm only like 37 pages in, and I always struggle when I start fantasy books. It's not my strength. It's like getting looped into a new fantasy system. So I'm sure it'll take me a second, but I'm sure it will catch on. I have like no thoughts on this yet. Book update. I'm currently reading Hamnet. 77 pages in. I'm sure I will give you the update fairly soon with our vibe check. We're halfway because this book isn't super long. 300 pages, so like a quarter of the way in. Damn it. Thoroughly enjoying it. Sorry for the noise. It's quite windy out. I think we have like a cold front blowing in. I'm loving it. Like I said, I switched from the audiobook to the physical book because I felt like it'd be better experience, and it is. Like the audiobook was great, but I just like felt like I wasn't comprehending. It is told in like a really like very like storytelling-esque style, and it was hard for me to follow like who was who in the audiobook. So I'm not an accomplished audiobook reader, to be honest. I don't read a ton on audiobooks, so I just like, I don't think I'm advanced enough at my listening skills, but I'm loving it, reading it. So I'm sure you'll get an update on that soon. I'm also still reading Fearless by Lauren Roberts as like a fun treat. This was not on the theme for the week, but is the name of a Taylor Swift song. So I'm like only 15% of the way in. It sounded like such a great time when I picked it up, but I don't know. I like this series. I enjoy the series in terms of like it is really like lighthearted, bantery, fun, like total like popcorn reading, but also there's not a ton of substance for me. The lighting's worse because it's nighttime now, so we don't even have the benefit of having like sun coming in the window. We just have this one lamp. So lighting's bad, but I'm halfway through Hamnet now. I am like really enjoying it. It is really the story of Agnes, who is like Shakespeare's wife, and it follows, so far we're at like the birth, we just read about the birth of his first child. It's in like kind of two timelines. We're kind of seeing the beginning of the relationship between an unnamed man, who we know to be William Shakespeare, and Agnes. We see like the beginning of their relationship in one timeline. We're kind of watching their life. I assume, I like don't know where that one's gonna go. I don't know if we're gonna get caught up to the current moment or what. And then we're also seeing this moment with their children getting sick with the plague, which this is a story of the plague, a novel of the plague. So we have both timelines, and it is just so good. Anyway, I'm here to do my 5-word vibes. Let's jump in. Transportive. When I'm reading this book, I'm there. I'm in it. Maternal. There's like something very mother. There's a lot of conversation about mothers. Grief. There's a lot of grief. It opens with the fact that we know that Hamnet, the title character of the book, dies. And so you have that kind of like looming. And it hasn't happened yet in like the secondary timeline. And you also, they're just like, there's like a lot of death around, like, I think Agnes, both of her parents are gone, and William has a sister that has like passed away. There's like a lot of death on the periphery of this family, and I think kind of around the town in general. Like, that's the time period, like people be dying in Shakespeare's time. Romance. There's a pretty strong romance between the two of them. There's something kind of like captivating about the story as well. Like, when I'm in it, like I'm in it. Like, I do need to be like focused because you're like being pulled along, but like when I'm reading, I'm not having to like struggle to keep reading. Like, I'm not bored in any capacity. And I'm a girl who does get bored, like, relatively easily. Her writing is really great. I mean, obviously, I think this was like it's New York Times 10 books of 2020. I feel like it was nominated for like the Booker or something, the Women's Prize. I think it might have won the Women's Prize. Like, it is like well regarded. Quite enjoying it. So I probably won't read too much more tonight, actually, to be honest, because I don't want to. I think I'm gonna watch Summer I Turn Pretty. I haven't finished yet. I'm behind because I wasn't watching this season. I watched season 1, loved it, and then tried to watch season 2, wasn't super into it, but then everyone's been talking and watching season 3, so I had to watch season 2. Now I'm watching season 3. There's no video from Friday or from Sunday. They were really just like rough days for me, in which I did not feel like putting myself on camera. On Sunday in particular, I did actually wind up reading a lot. I read almost half of Devil in the Deep Blue Sea, and I will be sharing more of my thoughts on that next week. I do have plans to finish all the books I started in this video in the coming weeks, so do know that is coming. And I do have a little plan, a little scheme to get me caught up next week. So excited to keep doing this, even though life happens. But like, for me, reading really is something that is such an important part of my life, and something that is such a comfort when I am going through difficult times. I feel really grateful to have these stories to kind of like keep me company on the road. So don't worry, the series will be continuing. I will see you next week. Bye.